us, Michael Zeldin. Welcome back. So Abby Lowell seemed to put a lot of this on what he calls political games and accused the committee of leaking this kind of information. Did it seem to you, though, that he also was saying that there are no missing documents? Everything has been provided.
Well, what he's saying is we think we've provided all of that which you have asked for. If there are other things that you want from us, ask, and we will provide them. What upsets Abby Lowell is that they were given this secondary request for follow-up information in a public forum rather than in a private letter from the committee to him. He thinks that this media event is unnecessary and undermines the credibility of the endeavor by the Judiciary and Intelligence Committees. That, himself is fine, but all of this is a bit of a sideshow, as Evan just said in the end of his setup, which is, himself is fine, but all of this is a bit of a sideshow, as Evan just said in the end of his setup, which is Mueller is the only elephant in the room, and that's what Abby has to protect his client's interests with respect to.
But would it still be incumbent upon Jared Kushner to do another interview with the Senate Judiciary Committee, even though it's the Mueller probe, which is, which potentially brings the more serious ramifications?
Sure. If the committee, Judiciary or Intelligence, House or Senate, asks Kushner to appear for a follow-on interview, I expect that Abby Lowell is going to make his client available for that interview. There's no reason that he shouldn't. At this point, we can see nothing about him that presents a legal jeopardy for Kushner. You do not want to be in contempt of Congress by any means. And so I think it'll happen, but again, with one eye on the committees and the other eye more clearly focused on Mueller. Because Mueller, to my knowledge, Frederica, has not yet brought Kushner in for an interview. At least publicly, it's not known that he has. And I think that's what Abby has to protect his client's interests with respect to.
And a lot of what is being said publicly certainly could influence the line of questioning that Mueller and his team would have of Jared Kushner. So
sure, they'll get the transcripts. They'll get the transcripts of those interviews, and that'll inform them about how they want to proceed with their interviews.
And what about the issue of that disclosure form, that FS, 86, and that apparently there have been at least, 100, amendments for Jared Kushner alone? At some point, are too many amendments too much, and it's no longer amendable, but there is something else that would happen, whether it be the revoking of, that access, that security clearance altogether, or just in perpetuity, you can continue to make amendments?
Well, so I don't know how the number 100 was reached. So if on form submission number 1, I say my name is Michael Zeldin. On form 2, I say it's Michael F. Zeldin. Is that 1? If I say on the next one, it's Mr. Michael F. Zeldin, that means I have 2 amendments to my form. So I don't know how they reached 100.
How they're calculated down.
Right. But the point here is, what matters about the SF-86 is, are you intentionally misleading by omission something from the form that is relevant to the determination of your clearance? The form contemplates it to be an iterative process. That is, it will change as you recall things, and the form says it as such, and in that process is iterative, including the interview with the FBI or whomever it is that's giving you the clearance. So I'm not terribly troubled at this point that the form has been amended a couple of times. If it turns out, though, that the amendments or the failure to include something is a material misleading event, then it becomes actionable, because the form says at the end, you're signing this form and submitting it finally under penalty of perjury. So I don't think we're there yet, but the fact that it's changing, look, when I filled out that form, they asked, how many countries have you been to, and where have you been, and when have you been over the last 10 years? I had to go find my passports, I had to find my official passport. You change it as new information comes to you. If that's the process that Kushner is involved in, it's benign. If he's purposefully omitting things, that's less benign.
All right, Michael Zeldin, we'll keep it there. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right, still ahead. It is the election rivalry that never seems to end. President Trump and Hillary Clinton trading jabs after he calls her the worst loser of all time. What she has to say about Trump's relentless tweeting about her next.
Black Friday savings start